Greetings in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. It's a great pleasure to meet you all again. We are going to discuss some of the important news. Let's begin today's episode. Firstly, we are witnessing the downfall of America as a global superpower. How is this happening now? In just the past few days, the country has lost around $5 trillion and continues to lose similar amounts each day. America is currently facing a very difficult and troubling situation. Many attribute this crisis to the reforms made by President Trump, especially the adjustments he made to the economy. However, other countries don't see these as mere adjustments, but rather as steps towards economic downfall. There is now a widespread belief that a trade war has officially begun. There are many kinds of wars: conventional war involving weapons and military, trade war, cyber war, which happens over the internet, and more. Right now, the trade war has taken center stage. As a result of these tensions, the US has imposed a 34% tax rate on China, and similar impositions have been made on other countries. Why specifically mention China? Because in response, China has retaliated with an even higher tax rate on the US. Following this, as of April 9, Trump announced an additional 104% tax rate on Chinese goods. This escalation is what we now refer to as a trade war, where instead of weapons, countries are attacking each other using trade policies and tariffs. Other countries like France, Canada, and more have also entered this economic battle. As we all know, trade wars can lead to a global economic downfall, and history shows us that such downfalls lead to conventional wars. You might find this hard to believe, but even the Prime Minister of Singapore addressed this issue in a recent 5-minute speech. It's available online, but we are going to show you the key clip where he warns that this trade war could very well lead to a conventional war. He also mentions how a similar war occurred in the 1930s, which eventually led to World War II, implying that what we are witnessing now could lead to World War III.
Trade wars escalated into armed conflict and eventually the Second World War.
We have already talked a lot about the possibility of a Third World War. Now it seems to be knocking at our doorstep. A great economic depression is looming. From a biblical perspective, following famine comes the fourth seal, the outbreak of war. And now we are seeing that America's actions are leading to trade wars and ultimately to the threat of a full-scale conventional war. This is what we'll be discussing next. Now, the US is getting dangerously close to entering a war against Iran. At any moment, an attack could take place. Everything from weapons to military action is already set in motion. On the other hand, Iran is fully prepared as well. We discussed this in our last episode. But since then, things have escalated even further, just like how it was mentioned in Ezekiel 38. This is not acceptable. If Iran is attacked, the US will face great consequences, warned Russia. As we have been saying all along, Russia was bound to get involved, and now they have officially entered the scene. However, Trump has declared that until Iran steps in and takes part in the agreement, the US will not stop this war. So war seems to be drawing very near. In spite of all this, Iran has gone ahead and formed a significant alliance. This alliance includes Iran, Russia, and China, three nations that have united on this issue, clearly declaring that nuclear weapons will not be abolished and that they will be used if necessary. Iran has taken the lead in forming this coalition for that very reason. With this, a strong group is now being formed, and this group will stand together on one side of the Third World War. According to the Bible, these nations are represented as Iran is referred to as Persia, Russia as Rosh, and China is linked to Meshach, Tubal, and Magog. There are many prophetic references to these nations, and now we are witnessing those prophecies unfold before our very eyes. So the question is, where is all of this leading? According to the scriptures, these events will ultimately lead to the signs that precede the second coming of Christ. And now we open to another important piece of news that connects. Bill Gates recently shared a powerful statement. He said that within the next 10 years, AI technology will begin to replace doctors, engineers, and other top professionals. According to him, even in critical areas, human involvement may no longer be necessary. Now, if you think how this could come to pass, a major war will lead to a significant loss of life and a sharp decline in global population. After that, to fill that gap, AI would be introduced to take over important roles and sustain society. Not only that, when AI is combined with machines and robotics, it will result in artificial humans with artificial intelligence. In other words, AI will not just support humans, it will become an alternative to humans. And according to Bill Gates, this could become reality within the next decade. Let's not forget, in 2014, he predicted a global pandemic that would shake the world. And within just 5 years, by the end of 2019, it happened. Now he's warning us again, AI will replace humans in 10 years. While many are fearful about this rise of AI, Bill Gates has said he's excited, believing that this is a progress and technical growth. But in another light, we can see that the world is now shaped and controlled by artificial intelligence and humans together. This is exactly what Revelation 13:15 speaks of, and it's unfolding before our eyes. In the midst of all of this, economic collapse and wars are continuing. So now the question arises, is another global superpower about to rise? That's what we are going to explore next in our final piece of news. Now, the EU has made a major announcement. EDM, the European Defence Mechanism. For nearly 15 years, we have been discussing the possibility of the European Union forming its own military base. Until now, Europe depended on NATO with backing from the United States for defense and security. But now, with America withdrawing its support, the need for an independent European military force has become a reality. This is a wake up call. This marks the beginning of what could be the rise of next global superpower. You might ask, how is this possible? The EDM plans to develop all military capabilities internally, from weapons, ground forces to jets, missile systems, and air missile technology. And here's the key point, the entire budget for this initiative will be funded by the 28 EU nations themselves. They have made a bold decision not to borrow any more money, as they have already burdened with heavy debt. Instead, the EU will use its existing financial resources to build its defense infrastructure and stockpile weapons for the next 5 to 10 years. Now think about this. Until the end of World War II, America wasn't the global superpower. But in the 1930s, the US dollar became the world's primary reserve currency, and not long after, America rose to global dominance. In the same way, consider the EU's timeline. Formed in 1943, officially registered in 1951, introduced euro in 2001, and now in this crucial hour, the EU is building its military foundation. It is clearly seen that the next superpower is being formed. While the current superpower faces collapse, another is growing its strength and influence. In the background of these events, we are witnessing the formation of the 10 Nation Alliance and the Seven Hills Alliance, just as foretold in biblical prophecy. From among the 10 horns, the smallest horn will rise, that is the Antichrist. From the EU, the final dictator will rise, one who will be both human and empowered by artificial intelligence, as mentioned in Revelation 13:5. Everything is unfolding just as prophesied right before our eyes. And when these things begin to take place, Jesus said, "Lift up your heads, for your redemption is near." These are not random events, they are clear signs that time is near. Jesus is coming soon. When the disciples asked Jesus for the signs of his return, he gave them many, and now those very signs are happening one after another. Christ, who stands at the door, is about to open it, and we must be ready, prepared to go with him when he comes. Let's not only prepare ourselves, but let's also prepare a group for redemption. If God wills, we will meet you again in another episode of End Time Events. God bless you.